Good morning, everyone. I'm Carrie Freeman, and welcome to My Left Ear. My Left Ear is a liberal YouTube channel where I do psychic commentary and just overall commentary, and sometimes I use the runes. So today is November 6th, 2023. This is video 179. And when I'm not here, I'm a change agent. I do private sessions with people in person or Zoom, where I do psychic coaching and I help people figure out the things that they don't have answers to and the direction they should go in. And I also have been doing clinical hypnotherapy for over 20 years, and sometimes I combine the two. So feel free to contact me. All my information is below. And I also have a Patreon channel, and it's patreon.com/Carrie Freeman. I just put up a video 2 days ago where I continue to talk about Stoic philosophy and coping with change. I think it's a good one. I think it's helpful. So here we go. Today is a teeny bit shorter. I'm hitting on some major points that I think are important. So I'm getting in and I'm getting out. And I'm going to pray that nobody knocks on my door, because I have maintenance coming between now and 3 o'clock. And I'm thinking, okay, hopefully they're going to eat lunch and they won't knock on my door. Fingers crossed. So I'm going to start today with the new GOP Speaker of the House. His full name is James Michael Johnson. We know him as Mike Johnson. Born in 1972, serving as the 56th Speaker of the United States House of Representatives since October 25th, recent. And previous to that, he's been a member of the Republican Party, serving his fourth House term, representing Louisiana's 4th Congressional District since 2017. So he's pretty new. A little bit about him. Johnson is a graduate of the Paul M. Herbert Law Center at Louisiana State University. And before entering politics, he worked as an attorney in private practice for the Alliance Defending Freedom, ADF. At the ADF, listen carefully, he advocated for sodomy laws and criminalizing homosexuality. Prior to that, he sat on the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission of the Southern Baptist Convention between 2004 and 2012. What I find interesting is the word liberty. So he sat on the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission. Liberty shouldn't be in there, because the people that this little speaker man was associated with, there's nothing about liberty. He's not about people having their own belief system. He's about forcing his version of Christianity on everyone, because he's a fanatic. And I am not exaggerating that. I am not exaggerating that. I feel very strongly about the danger of this man, and that's why he's first today that I'm talking about him. So also in 2017, in a House Judiciary Committee meeting, Johnson argued that this is just how nutty he is, argued that Roe v. Wade made it necessary to cut social programs like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid because abortion reduced the working force. Cannot make this up. I could not have made this up. All right, so we're going to move on here. He has supported ending American military aid to Ukraine in its war for Russia. That is freaking scary. And it makes me understand that he doesn't know how crucial Ukraine is and how crucial it is for Ukraine to win. Because if they don't, Russia's just going to cover Europe. They're just going to go after Europe. They're going to restore their military and go after Europe. This guy is not smart. He's a fanatic. In 2018, it was revealed that Mikey, little Mikey, had received over $37,000 in campaign contributions from a company with controlled entirely by 3 Russian oligarchs. Hello. I see that my thing is crooked here and it's bothering me a little bit, so I'm just straighten it out a little bit. Well, okay. Now, I wrote, and a lot of people have written, who owns Mike Johnson? And there was an answer on Twitter with some reporters and a friend colleague of mine named Maria. So it says today, reporters have uncovered what he's hiding with his finances, because I don't know if you know, and I don't know if I mentioned it last MLE that we did, but nobody can find a checking account, a savings account, investments of any kind on Mike Johnson. He owns a $300,000 home, and he's in debt $600,000. That's what we know. Okay, so what they found out, he's hiding with his finances, and who's paying him? Putin, the NRA, Big Oil, the Federalist Society. So, and then it says something about Mike Flynn. So there's some kind of cahoots with Mike Flynn. This isn't totally clear to me, but he's also, I don't know if you knew this, very instrumental in the January 6th insurrection. I mean, famously very instrumental. I've already written the DOJ about this, their crime division, and I believe, my left ear believes, that Mikey Johnson, Speaker Mikey Johnson, little man, Trump's Johnson, he's going to get scooped up in the Jack Smith, what I think is going to be RICO, where Jack Smith is going to pull together all the insurrectionists from the Senate, whatever other appointments there are, and the House, Congress. And he's going to be part of that. Doesn't matter if he's Speaker, just like it doesn't matter that Trump was the president once. So that's what it looks like right now. Now, there's also a very murky story about Mikey Johnson. And that is, and I'm telling you it's murky, that it's said that when he was 25 and he wasn't married, he adopted a black boy, I think, who was 14 or 15 years old. And it wasn't a legal adoption. It was something through the Baptist ministries, and he sort of took him in. The black, who's now a man, does not appear in any Christmas pictures. It's very mysterious. Now there's a story, and it needs to be researched, but it has shown up several times today already, that this young man and Mike had some kind of agreement to watch, observe, I can't think of the word, keep an eye on porn watching. Yeah, that's what I said. Watching porn. That this young kid that he brought into his world, they had an agreement to patrol and each other's porn watching. There is so much about this guy that needs to be uncovered. Looks like Rolling Stone is taking a deep dive into him right now. And Rolling Stone is really good investigative reporting. We're going to learn more. Now, one of my favorite commentators on Twitter is a man named Dr. Jack Brown. He's just really brilliant on reading people's body language and facial movements, and he's spot on. And he put out a tweet about little Mikey Johnson that came under a picture of Johnson. And this is all he said. First, comma, call Child Protective Services. Get this guy out of the speakership. 5-alarm fire, red lights flashing, sirens blaring. And in all the time that I've been watching and reading Dr. Brown, he has never sounded this alarmed. I'm going to say it again. He wrote, first, call Child Protective Services. Second, get this guy out of the speakership. 5-alarm fire, red lights flashing, sirens blaring. I'm not alone. There's a lot of people that are very worried about this guy. You know, the Congress was exhausted, and they were getting criticized. They were getting criticized like crazy about not nominating a speaker. So they got to the very end when all things were falling apart, and they were just exhausted, and they appointed him. The worst. All right, we're going to move on now. Today, this morning, there was some really unpleasant polling that was reported, and I want to say ignore it. Ignore it. It came from 5 states. It's not even important what the states are. It's just that they wanted to blast it. Biden is polling poorly in 5 states. But here's the thing that I want you to know. It is a fact that when Barack Obama was running for the presidency, at this juncture in his own race, he was exactly at the same place that Joe Biden is today. It looked really bad, and Mitt Romney was ahead. Same stats. There's Petey. Hey, Pete. Hi. He just said hello. I don't know if you could hear him. It's really cute. Want to take a little nap? Say hi to everybody? No. He wants to get on my computer table because that's where he likes to take a nap. But when I'm recording like this, he can't do that. So he's got to come here. Take a little nap. He's so cute, isn't he? He's so cute. There's Pete. Petey. Everybody loves to see Pete. Kind of doing this for your benefit. All right, so ignore the polling. Barack Obama looked, like he wasn't going to make it. And he became president. And he beat Mitt Romney. But at the same point, Obama was in the same place. So let's just be very careful, because also these newspapers and these outlets and the polling, they want clickbait and they want to panic us. Okay? They do. Be very careful. I don't know if you heard about it. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because he's not going to be our president. But it's very threatening. It's very ugly that Trump has gathered around him people that believe in him, want him to be president next. And some of them are attorneys, and literally they are having meetings about who they're going to incarcerate, who they're going to indict, and who they're going to jail when Trump becomes president. And he's forming this committee, and they're going to take this person down and that person down and the Biden family down and the DOJ and anybody who has criticized him. Anybody who's criticized him, that's they're going to go after. So it's not about policy. It's not about helping people. And, it's scary to hear about that. But that's the reason they're doing it, because it's scary. And now we're going to talk about, or I'm going to talk about, excuse my language, but one of the ugliest, nastiest son of a bitches in the Senate, okay? Now you know how I feel. Tommy Tuberville. Tommy Tuberville sounds like a character out of like Mississippi Burning or some movie that's famous for racial discrimination. He's really obnoxious, an ex-football coach. So he's focusing his blanket hold on civilian nominees for Pentagon jobs. Not so much the military officers, the Pentagon jobs. And I'll tell you why in a minute. So as of last week, the Republicans actually went to the Senate floor so angry and made speeches about what Tuberville is doing and how bad it is. Because it's been a 9-month blockade. 9 months. And now we've got 2 wars going on out of our country, thank God, but we're involved, and he's holding things up. Even GOP Senator Kevin Cramer from Dakota said, I think what it says about where things are is Tommy's losing support. And if you had heard other senators speak on the floor, they're disgusted with him, and he's losing support. But he's holding fast. He's not going to budge. So we're seeing frustration build, is what the senator from North Dakota said, because the consequences are building. This is just not some idea in the air. This is real, solid ground stuff that's going on that's awful for the United States and for everybody. So in the meantime, Democrats are a little bit encouraged, and they're devising their own way to get around the blockade, and are hoping some of these GOP people who are frustrated, which quite a few of them are, will see this and push Republicans to support their idea to solve this problem, which is not Democratic or Republican. It's just a problem when we can't put people in Pentagon jobs. So Democrats are like slightly optimistic, and people are just hating Tuberville with good reason. So this whole thing with him is he's stating that giving female people in the military money to travel to get an abortion because they have no choice where they're stationed, and if they're stationed in a anti-abortion state, they can't do anything. So that's the reason why they get travel expenses. And he's against it. But I'm going to call him a fake. I'm going to call him a fake by like 150%. He's using this as an excuse because you know what I think he's doing, my left ear? He's trying to hold up these appointments because he thinks Trump is going to get reelected, and then Trump can make these appointments himself so that they are people that support him, that are loyal to him for his revenge plans. Doesn't sound very realistic because it's a year from now, but the way that Tuberville is like, no. I mean, he is unbending. It's very suspicious. I believe he's even getting paid by Russia. But they're going to find a way around him. And they just appointed a woman. So they're really working at ways. He should be kicked off the committee. I don't know what the laws are for that, to be honest with you. So one of our least favorite people on the planet, I mean, I'm just disgusting. I'm putting Tommy Tuberville and Ron DeSantis in the same paragraph here. But DeSantis got a little stroke of good luck. It's not going to mean anything to his outcome, but he's getting endorsed by the female governor of Iowa. So that's being played up big time, like it's gonna make a difference. How dumb is she? Oh my heavens. Anyway, I'm not gonna spend any time on it because he's not gonna make the president. He won't give up because he has this giant ego, and the governor of Iowa is not gonna. It's gonna mean zip, okay, zip. Now, I have an idea about the election a year from now, or maybe even a couple of days less than a year from now. I have had a hard time seeing Trump getting up to actually running. And this has been with me for a while, that he's talking and he's acting, but will he actually run? So here, I just want to give you my opinion here. If Trump is very ill, he's had a stroke, whatever, or his dementia has gone way over the top, or he is deceased and unable to run, my left ear thinks that Nikki Haley will run against Biden. Take it or leave it. I didn't do the runes. That's what we think. All right. So here we go. And now we're kind of beginning to widen it up here. I'm going to talk about Iowa for a minute because you may or may not know that the Secretary of State in Ohio, Frank LaRose, purged 26,000 voters from voting days before the abortion referendum deadline. They were purged so they couldn't vote on abortion, which is huge tomorrow in Ohio. So Tuesday's critical election, which will determine abortion access in the state of Ohio, because that political party wants to make it harder to vote, and it's sending a clear message. The GOP can't win without cheating. They're not creative. They have no good ideas. They really don't do things for the people. They're about taking away, removing, reducing, hurting. And you know what I didn't tell you about little man speaker is he's forming a committee to end Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. He's not going to do it, but this is his mission. Very compassionate, isn't it, for such a religious guy? Unbelievable. Voting rights, this is Ohio still, voting rights advocates say the process, what he did, what the Secretary of State did, lacked transparency and departed from the usual practice of alerting groups before removing registrations from the rolls. It comes as LaRosa's campaign starts hard against the constitutional amendment vote. So tomorrow, I don't know how these numbers are going to work. Ohio voters will decide whether to enshrine the right to abortion, as well as on a separate bill, whether to legalize marijuana. So big stuff in Ohio. And the funny thing is, I was thinking about good evidence, and I didn't have like some specific personal story to share with you today. And I started looking up things online. I found a great personal story, but then I got a phone call. I got a phone call from a musician I have worked with off and on for quite a long time. He is a premier drummer. He was trained at the University of Miami, which is famous school for putting out brilliant musicians. So he's very talented and had problems with confidence, and he shouldn't, because he's drop dead gorgeous. He's super nice. He's spiritual. He's got a good marriage. He's a good father. And I had done some work with him, and he started getting a lot of gigs. He worked, Minnie Driver, the actress, by the way, has a really good singing voice, and he went on tour with her. I went to see, that's how I know she has a good singing voice. She was great. And he played the drums, and I went, oh my God, he's so good. And he continues to work on himself and grow. So he also helps me with computer things, and that's kind of a wonderful give and take that we have. So he called me this morning because I had a question about my Wix site, which sells my book, The Comics Daughter, and a few people had trouble ordering it. but you won't, because people are getting a message that they're not sure that their order went through. They email me and the order is going through. But Kevin's going to go in and try to fix that so nobody gets that message anymore. That's the reason for the call. So he starts talking real fast, because we talk about spiritual things and we talk about good evidence, and he's like so open. So he tells me, Carrie, I just finished this great book. And he starts telling me about the book. Then he said, and then I found out that this man and his wife had written other books. And so one of the books is about how you get started in life is by loving yourself. So one of these books is about self-love. And the author is Gay Hendricks, in case you're curious. I guess he and his wife have written many books. Gay Hendricks. So he's telling me this story that he just was resonating with his book. And he was out, he and his wife built a little Airbnb in the back of their house, which is gorgeous. And he was cleaning and his phone rang. And he looks at his phone and it's producer from the Jimmy Kimmel Show. And he had done one drumming and filled in for a drummer one night on the Jimmy Kimmel Show, had a blast. So this call comes in and says, half the band on Jimmy Kimmel has COVID and we need a drummer, Kevin. We need you. Can you come in Monday through Thursday? And Kevin was, I'm there. So he calls me, and that was his good evidence. So I just heard it this morning. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy, a better drummer. But on Wednesday, he got to play with famous rocker Joe Walsh. And Kevin this morning said to me, Carrie, that was one of the highlights of my whole life. And I said, was he cool? Because I had just read that Joe Walsh has become sober, like a lot of rock stars end up becoming sober. And he said he was real sweet. And he said it just went great. And when Jimmy Kimmel was introducing things for the evening, he said, half my band is out with COVID, and he was into this musician, that musician, and he said, and the great Kevin Stevens on the drums. So good evidence for Kevin, right? Right. So the other good evidence story I'll share for the next time we meet. And I looked up a few quotes for us. Carl Jung, Swiss psychologist, he said, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. That's a strong statement. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. And then one more quote by Jung. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens. So it's good to look outside and inside. Okay? All right, my friends. I'm changing things up a little bit. And I'll talk about that next time. So make peace, make good memories, and kindness on the streets. Keep that going. Okay? And then one last look at Mr. Petey. Hi. He just answered me. I don't know if you heard it. He looked up and said, what do you want? Anyway, Petey and I say bye-bye. Have a good day. Don't let the polls get you down. Okay? And we'll talk more. Bye-bye.